You are feeling trapped. You've done everything that you think you should have. You've ticked all of those boxes, but you're still not feeling happy about yourself. You're still not feeling fulfilled. Well, and this might be a little bit of a hard truth, but it's you. Let's talk about responsibility, taking personal responsibility for yourself. And it's how we grow. For me, that's been the past year or so. It's really kind of challenged my beliefs, got me to where I am today, and I'm 40. So the idea is that you are operating from a core knowledge of experiences, a library that you have built up over time. Every time that you've experienced something new, you've interpreted it, you've taken it, you've locked it away. Every time you have then re-experienced something, that has reinforced one of those books on the shelf. It's added another chapter to it. Maybe a little bit different, but it goes on the shelf. And your library grows. Starts off small, goes into adulthood, gets bigger, gets bigger. But what happens when you reach a certain age is, because of that library, you end up recycling the same books over and over and over again. And you think that you are adding new chapters. You think that you are adding new stories, new ideas, but actually it's just the same book over and over and over again. What happens is you start living from the library. You start just finding it easier to take books from there rather than add books to it. It's this cycle that goes round and round and round. It repeats. And these experiences, this cycle that goes round and round, it can be negative. You have a bad relationship, it ends badly. That happens 2 or 3 times. You think you're bad at relationships. Next relationship comes along, you hold back because of it. It leads to a bad relationship. You don't get a promotion at work, you don't try for the next one. You don't speak up at work because your boss shut you down in a meeting. Why bother speaking up again? These negative loops reinforce themselves over and over and over again. But it's not all bad, right? Because otherwise life would be pretty shit for a lot of people all the time. There are flashes of things when things work out, when you do get that job, when you do get that promotion, when the right relationship does come along. Good things do happen. But what invariably ends up happening is that good thing happens, and you put the book back on the shelf, and you don't know where it is. You can't get it out again. And so you go back to reading the same thing over and over and over. And actually, even if you think something like imposter syndrome, sometimes you might not even chalk whatever your success was up to anything other than, hey, I got lucky. Great. So you can have negative experiences and you can have positive experiences, but you don't know why those positive experiences are happening to you. So the cycle resets, goes round and round and round. Familiar story, right? It's like emotional deja vu. I've been here before. I've felt this before. The problem is, because you don't know why that is happening, those negative experiences over and over again, because you never think about why they are happening, you never challenge yourself as to why you are in those positions, good or bad, you can't repeat them, or they keep on repeating. Life isn't one long big disaster, it has chapters. But if you don't understand why the good ones happen, and you keep letting the bad ones happen, you'll never write a new story. You'll just keep going round. So what we want to do is we need to become aware of what that is. We need to understand why. It's the hardest question in the world. And what I'd like to point out here as well is you can't just ask yourself why just once. You need to ask yourself why over and over and over and over again. Right? You don't climb Everest in a day. Yeah? It's a marathon, not a sprint, whatever it might be, whatever analogy you want to choose. What you want is awareness. You want that light bulb to go on and, this self-awareness of your being. So what can happen is you can become aware of it, you can think about it, and through your thoughts, you can make different actions. By doing that, you can then repeat those positive actions over and over and over again, rather than the negative one. What awareness gives you is a gap between being reactive and allows you to be proactive. It gives you a moment of clarity, some time to think, where what you can do is you can choose to make a better decision. You can choose to put yourself in the same situation again or not the same situation. But if you don't have that awareness in the first place, it washes over you, cycle repeats, you end up reading the same book over and over again. One thing that I've learned in my 40 years on this planet is that you're not always right about things. When you are 18, particularly as a man, you think you know everything. You are indestructible, you're made of rubber and magic, you can drink as much as you want, you can do whatever you want, and you don't really care about what anyone thinks. And you think you've got it nailed. Then you hit 21 and you think, gosh, I was such an idiot when I was 18. I didn't know this, this, and this. Now I know everything. Then you hit 25 and you're going, gosh, I'm a quarter of a century now. I've learnt a little bit more. And this keeps happening every year. Every time you put yourself in a new situation, you learn new stuff and you're like, wow, my life has changed. At least that's how it should be. But the problem is now is that because of social media, because of algorithms, because of the way that the internet works, is that if I Google the same thing as you, we're going to get different results. So what used to happen was we used to be able to challenge ourselves in through our experiences, and that allowed us, or at least it helped us, to become more self-aware. So be like, oh, hang on, this is different. Let's make a choice. But now, because of what we're exposed to, we end up in tribes, we end up in little circles, and it reinforces those ideas. So what happens is the 18-year-old gets those ideas, then you become 21 and they're the same. And you think, yeah, I've got it nailed. 25 comes around, yeah, I've got it nailed. The thing is, the issue with getting trapped in this algorithm, these circles, is there's 7 billion people out there. And everybody's got their own view, their own values, their own ideas. Yours are unique, don't get me wrong, you're very special in that respect, but everyone's got their own ideas. So if you want to grow, if you want to become better, you have to question yourself, because no one else is going to do it for you. You've got to do it yourself. You've got to ask yourself the big question. You've got to ask yourself, why am I doing this? What has led me to this place? And the goal isn't to be right. The goal is to be real. The goal is to be honest with yourself, to ask yourself, to truly ask yourself, not just why did I do that, but also why did I think that would be a good idea? Honesty. Every action that you take starts with a thought. That's just the way life works. Now, sometimes those thoughts come in quickly and sometimes they don't. But if you change that one thought, you can literally change your life. You might think, oh, that's a little bit woo-woo, whatever. Let me give you an example. So a few years ago, me and the wife, we were at uni, and she's from London. She wanted to do a sightseeing day in London. I'd only been a couple of times before. I'm from the West Country. I'm a country bumpkin. It was mid-October, and it was around my birthday time, so I know it gets dark and miserable and rainy. And I was like, gosh, the thought of traipsing around London in the rain is gonna absolutely suck. She wanted to catch the train, and I hate the trains. The trains in the UK are notoriously bad, and I just despise public transport. If I can drive, well, I want to, because then I'm in control. So I knew I was gonna have a bad morning on the train. It's gonna get caught in the rain. Obviously, it would be a Saturday, weekend. We couldn't go during the week. So it's going to be busy. So it's, I'm going to be stressed because of the trains. It's going to be wet and miserable. It's going to be busy. So there's going to be crowds. I'm in London. And then she was like, and this was, it tells you the dates here, but Five Guys had just opened in London. And it was like the hottest thing. And there were literally, like, you could go onto YouTube and you could watch queues of people, queues out the door, round the block, whatever. And that's where she wanted to go. So now I've got to go and queue for my dinner. Who had the better day? Because I can tell you 100% it wasn't me. But she absolutely loved it. She had a great time because she thought she was going to, and I thought I wasn't going to. Now, I'm not talking about manifest destiny here. I'm not saying look into the mirror and tell yourself that you're a winner 100 times before you go to work in the morning. No, of course I'm not. But what I'm saying is the way that you think affects your actions and what you do. And if you think you are going to have a bad day, you are going to have a bad day. If you think you're going to have a good day, you're going to have a good day. It is as simple as that. We're talking about small shifts in thinking here. We're talking about just changing ever so slightly, asking yourself that question, why, and building that gap, which then allows you to make a different choice. Now, that choice may still be the same one, that's fine, but it allows you to think differently, even if it's a split second or if you've got lots of time. It gives you time to choose. It gives you time to notice the thought before it becomes an action. Look, the story that you tell yourself is going to shape the story that you live in. I used to think that that was, as I say, a little bit woo-woo, but it's true. You, and only you, have the power to change you. No one else can do that. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. That's you. You're the horse. The world is set up in a certain way. The way that you react to it, the way that you conduct yourself in it, that is down to you, no one else. Stop blaming other people. You can't think yourself out of trauma or grief or illness, right? You can't. And if you need specialist help with that, then go and get it. Like, there are circumstances that are out of our control. I can choose whether I participate in some of them, but sometimes I can't as well. So if you need support, then you need to go and get it. Like, that's what I'm saying straight up. So I am not saying, like, if you are a truly anxious or depressed person, for example, that you can just think yourself out of it. If you get cancer, go and see a fucking doctor, right? Thinking positively is not going to help you in that situation. If you think you're going to have a crap time because you're going to London with some mates, maybe think you're going to have a good time. Change isn't instant, and it isn't easy. You are going to fall back on old habits probably more often than not. That's just the way it works. But so much of your life, so fucking much of it is down to you and is within your control. And I wish that I had realized this later in life. I mean, I'm only 40, so I've got a long way to go. But if you're not happy with the direction that you're going, then change the direction. It's not going to happen overnight. You are not going to go to sleep tonight and wake up tomorrow and go, wow, I'm a new person. Let's do some new stuff. But there's this story that I'll leave you with. A couple are walking along a beach at night and they see this guy in the distance and he's running around the beach. He seems to be picking something up from the ground and lobbing it back into the ocean. And they go up to him and they notice as they get closer to him that the beach is strewn. Thousands and thousands of starfish that have been washed up in the ocean and they're flapping about on the floor, basically can't breathe. They're dying, thousands of them. And as they get closer to this guy, he's running around and he's bending down, he's picking them up and he's lobbing them into the water. And he runs around, grabs another one, throws it, pops it into the water. And the guy with the couple goes up to this person and he says, what are you doing? You can't possibly save all of these starfish. And the guy reaches down, he picks up another starfish and he throws it in, plop. He says, no, but I saved that one. You can't change everything, but you can change little things. And if you are fed up with everything that has happened, if you're feeling like you haven't got to where you want to get to, put that book back in the library, get out your pen and write a new one, because you have the power to do that. Just don't expect to write it all in one go. And watch this video on my reflections on turning 40, because fuck me, I'm 40. See you next week.